Welcome back. Let's take a moment to recap what you've learned so far, because each idea builds directly on the next. You discovered that the labor market doesn't reward people who simply chase jobs. It rewards people who solve problems. You learned that the bigger and broader the problem you choose to solve, the greater the reward, the leverage, and the impact. You reframed school, not as a trophy, not as a destination, but as the place where you gather your tools. You explored how spotting and framing problems is the #1 career skill almost no one gets taught, yet everyone needs. And you realized that the journey doesn't begin with big challenges. It begins by solving small, everyday problems that build confidence, competence, and momentum. Now here's the core truth tying all of this together. You can't solve big problems without the right tool. And the more tools you carry, the more skills you collect, the more methods you learn, the more systems you understand, the more valuable you become, because each tool expands your ability. Each skill expands your impact, and each bit of knowledge expands the range of problems you can step into and solve. The tools you carry determine the value you bring, and the value you bring determines the opportunities that open for you. Keep building, keep sharpening, keep adding to your toolkit. That's how you grow into someone who can solve the problems that truly matter. Let's return to the roof metaphor, because it perfectly explains why preparation matters far more than most people realize. Picture the man climbing up to fix a leaky roof. He's got his ladder, he's got his gear, he's motivated, he's ready. But the moment he reaches the top, he realizes he forgot his hammer. And what happens? He has to climb all the way back down, grab the tool he should have taken with him, and then climb all the way back up just to begin the work he thought he was prepared for. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. That's exactly what happens when people enter the labor market unprepared. They graduate with a degree. They show up with motivation. They carry ambition, excitement, potential. But if they don't have the right skills, the practical tools needed to solve real problems, they hit a wall. They get ignored. They get underpaid. They get overwhelmed. Not because they aren't capable, but because they climbed without the tools. And that's why this lesson matters so much. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards people who show up ready to solve meaningful problems, with the skills, tools, and mindset to actually do the work. This is your moment to gather those tools before you climb. Let's make the roof repair metaphor crystal clear, because it matters more than almost anything you'll learn in this series. In the real world, tools equal skills. Just like a roofer needs a hammer, nails, and safety gear to fix a leak, a problem solver in today's labor market needs their own set of tools. Tools like Python, Excel, SQL, the languages of data and automation, writing, public speaking, persuasion, the tools of influence and clarity. UX design, Figma, wireframing, the tools of user-centered thinking. Financial modeling, budgeting, analysis, the tools of smart decisions. Project management, strategic thinking, the tools of execution and leadership. And yes, AI tools like ChatGPT, modern leverage that absolutely counts. Every one of these is a tool you can carry in your mental toolbox. And the more tools you have, the more problems you can solve. The more problems you can solve, the more valuable you become. But here's the key, the part most people get wrong. You don't need all the tools. You don't need to become an expert in everything. You just need the right tools for the problem you want to solve. Once you know the problem, you can choose the tools. And that's how you build a career with clarity, confidence, and direction. Let's simplify what makes a professional truly valuable in any field, any industry, any stage of their career. Every high-impact professional contributes in at least one of 4 key ways. These are the pillars of real value. First, identifying problems. This is the skill of diagnosis, analysis, user research, seeing what others miss, spotting inefficiencies, friction points, and opportunities for improvement. Second, designing solutions. This is where creativity meets strategy. Planning, mapping out systems, creating workflows, imagining better ways things could work, seeing the future before it's built. Third, implementing solutions. This is the doing, coding, writing, building, designing, executing the work that transforms ideas into reality. Fourth, measuring results. This is the feedback loop. Analytics, testing, reporting, evaluating what worked and what didn't, turning outcomes into insight. Every valuable professional leans into at least one of these. The best can do two or more consistently. Your job, start with one, the one that feels natural, energizing, or exciting, and go deep. Mastery begins with focus. There's a common mistake almost everyone makes on their career journey. They spend time learning skills, but they never show them. And here's the truth employers won't always say out loud. They don't want to guess whether you can do the job. They don't want to assume. They want proof. Clear, visible, undeniable proof. So here's the real unlock. The shift that instantly separates you from the crowd. Don't just say, I can code. Don't just say, I understand data. Don't just say, I'm good at design. Instead, say something like, here's a project where I used Python to analyze 10,000 rows of data and created a recommendation. Or, here's the landing page I redesigned to reduce confusion for new users. Or, here's the system I built to help my team stay organized. Boom. Now they trust you. Now you're credible. Now you're valuable because you're not asking them to believe you. You're showing them who you are through what you've created. And that's the entire idea behind the show not tell approach, a mindset so powerful it has been covered in its own mini-series. But for now, remember this, tools matter, but proving you can use them, that's what opens doors. Now that you understand why tools matter and how they shape your value, let's turn all of this into a clear, practical action plan. Here's your 3-part roadmap for building a tool-driven, problem-solving career. Step 1. Identify the problem you want to solve. Start with the issue that excites you, frustrates you, or motivates you. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to feel real. Maybe it's helping small businesses grow through better marketing. Maybe it's making education more accessible. Maybe it's improving public transport systems. Maybe it's reducing digital clutter and distraction. Maybe it's increasing financial literacy in your community. Whatever your problem is, name it. Because clarity about the problem gives direction to everything else. Step 2. Research what skills are needed to solve that problem. Look at job descriptions. Browse LinkedIn profiles. Ask ChatGPT. Study what real professionals use, their tools, certifications, workflows, and outputs. What software do they rely on? What methods do they follow? What projects do they showcase? And remember, you can also use internally developed tools like SkillMill.io and our GPT-powered career counselor to map these skills more accurately. The goal is simple. Understand the toolkit required to do the work effectively. Step 3. Learn and practice those skills and show them. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Take an online course. Build a small project. Share your work on LinkedIn, GitHub, Medium, anywhere someone can see it. Reflect on what you learned and what you'd improve next time. Even the smallest proof builds trust. And trust builds opportunity. This is how you turn skills into value, and value into a career that grows with you. Here's one final mindset shift to carry with you. Every new skill you add doesn't just add to your career potential, it multiplies it. This isn't about collecting badges, stacking certificates, or filling a resume with buzzwords. It's about becoming the kind of person who can consistently do three things: see valuable problems, build meaningful solutions, deliver real results. That's the person who stands out. That's the person who gets the interview. That's the person who gets the offer. And ultimately, that's the person who creates opportunities instead of waiting for them. Skills are tools. Tools create value. And the more value you create, the more your career expands. Keep gaining tools, and you keep gaining possibilities. Take a quiet moment for yourself today, 10 to 15 minutes, and sit with this question. What tools, what skills am I currently carrying into the labor market? What tools am I missing? And which one should I add next? Write it out. Don't rush it. Let the answers surface naturally. This one exercise brings instant clarity to your next move. It reveals what you're prepared for and what you need to prepare next. And if you haven't already, download the Problem Spotting Journal. It pairs perfectly with this reflection. Now take a second to acknowledge something important. You've already made more progress than most people ever do. Most people never pause to rethink how the labor market actually works. But you did. You stepped back. You examined the system. You reframed your approach. So let's recap your transformation. Before, looking for jobs. After, looking for problems. Before, talking about degrees. After, showing real skills. Before, waiting for an opportunity. After, creating your own value. This is how a meaningful, high-leverage career begins. Not with luck, not with credentials, but with clarity, intention, and the courage to think differently.